church today, and the title of my speech is Prayer, this in part. Can everyone hear me? If you don't mind, I'd like to take this out. I'm going to share a funny story. I was preparing for the speech this week, and I was riding in my car the other day, and a guy on the radio started talking about civics. And I thought, I have not heard that word in so long, and I just haven't even thought about it for years. And interestingly, part of my speech today is about civics, so I thought that was really wild. I have a question. How many people here have studied civics in high school? You have to be, okay, that's good. I did, and I have to say, I don't remember much about it, unfortunately. And the gentleman was saying that we are doing our generation a disservice by not teaching civics anymore. That our children and this generation do not know that much about our government and how our government works. So in the course of my speech and in preparing, I had to look up the word civics to know exactly what it was. And the simple definition is the study of the rights and responsibilities of a citizen. So as citizens of the United States, we have rights and we have responsibilities. So now I'm going to give you guys a little pop quiz. You can all collaborate, it's joint effort. Can we name the 5 freedoms that we have been given in the First Amendment of our Constitution? Five, I'm sorry, say it.
The lawyers can't answer.
Okay, that's true. You can confirm if they're right or not. You're the teacher. Okay. There's 5 freedoms. I'm giving you a tip. There's 5 of them.
Free speech.
Free speech. Right to assembly. Association.
Quick trial.
I'm sorry.
Quick trial.
Press.
Now, those are other ones, but there's 5 in the First Amendment. Freedom of speech.
Press.
Freedom of press, correct. Freedom of assembly. Freedom of religion. And the last one is freedom of petition. So those are the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment. Now, I have one more question. Does anybody know what's happening next Thursday, May 6th?
Is it the day of prayer?
Thank you. That is correct. It is the 59th annual National Day of Prayer. The National Day of Prayer is held every first Thursday of May, and it is simply a time to gather citizens together of all faiths to pray for our nation. And it is based on the freedoms that we just named, 3 of the 5. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of assembly. This year, every year there's a theme, and the theme for the year this year is prayer for such a time as this. And it's based on an Old Testament verse in the book of Nahum, which states, "The Lord is good, our refuge in time of trouble. He cares for those who trust in Him." So next Thursday, May 6th, you all have the opportunity to observe the National Day of Prayer at the Hilton Head Island Town Hall at noon. Now please understand, this is not a political event. It is not for those who watch Fox News only. It's not for those who watch CNN. It is simply a time to gather and pray for our nation. You may be all thinking right now. So you know what I'm going to say? Who's thinking, what about separation of church and state? Well, if you are thinking that, or you're asking yourself that question, I'll answer it. The phrase, separation of church and state, is not found in our Constitution, and I do have a judge here, so you can correct me, but I've done my homework. It is not found in our Constitution, and it is not a law. It is derived from a letter written by Thomas Jefferson in 1802, and he writes in part, legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. The bottom line is that the Constitution does address the religion by breaking it into 2 clauses. The first clause is called the Establishment Clause, in which essentially says it is impermissible to establish a government religion. And then the second clause is called the Free Exercise Clause, which allows religious freedom. but it in no way removes religion from American public life. I want to encourage all of you to exercise the freedoms the freedoms that we have been given in our Constitution by coming. Think about coming next week to the National Day of Prayer. I hope you would agree that as citizens of this great nation, that we have a great responsibility. As good citizens, we are to be law-abiding. We are to contribute to the greater good of our society. We're to be respectful to our fellow citizens. But I would also argue that we have tremendous responsibility to pray for our nation. And I don't know about you, but I think God has an incredible sense of humor. I cannot believe that I'm standing up here today talking about this in a church. We are called to pray for our nation, to pray for our government and our officials, to pray for our school systems, to pray for our military, to pray for our businesses, our commerce, to pray for our houses of worship, our own families, and our fellow citizens. Please consider joining us next Thursday at the 59th Annual National Day of Prayer. To whom much is given, much is required. Fellow Madam Toastmaster.